Hey there, Red Devil Nation. Welcome back. We have another alumni spotlight for you. Today we have class of 2017 Dickinson swimming alum Emily Hauser with us. Emily, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's just dive right in. Where did you grow up and how did you get involved in the sport of swimming?
Okay, so I grew up in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania, which is like a suburb a half hour or so outside of Philadelphia. Started out just swimming on my summer swim team. Started when I was like 8. It was something my older sister did, so I got involved myself. It was something that I just really liked to do. And I was pretty good at it, so I just decided to keep doing it. And I ended up swimming at Upper Dublin High School for 4 years, and then it brought me to Dickinson.
So when you were going through the recruiting process while you were at Upper Dublin, were you looking at other schools, and how did you find Dickinson, and what really attracted you to the college, but also more importantly to the swim program and Coach Richards?
Yeah, so I basically looked at Centennial Conference schools. My sister ended up going to Gettysburg, and she's 2 years older than me. So I knew about the Centennial Conference. I knew it had good schools, and she swam there also. So I just kind of knew about the programs in the Centennial Conference. So I looked at a bunch of them, Gettysburg, F&M, Dickinson, and the main things that drew me to Dickinson were their math program and coach. And really the main thing that brought me there was meeting coach. He took me around campus. I sat with him, and it was just, I kind of knew right away that this was where I wanted to be.
And what about Coach Richards made you know this was where you wanted to be during that encounter, walking around campus with him, getting to meet him, hear about the program? What was it that he said or maybe encouraged about your potential to come here that made you say, this is the place I want to be?
Yeah, so I think honestly, the first thing I realized, and it's something that I still think about, is just he's so calm all the time. And I think his just calm presence and just being like, everything's going to work out, it's going to be okay, was just very comforting to me. And I think it was, comforting as a junior in high school. It was comforting for 4 years of college. And it's still comforting when I talk to him now about, life, work, things like that. He's just always been a super calm presence. And I think that's really beneficial to me. And then obviously, he's super student athlete. You're a student before an athlete. And I thought that was really important. I came to school to get a degree and swim, not swim and get a degree. So I think he really, made that important. And I think that was important to me.
Yeah. And hearing about it in your recruiting process is always one thing, but seeing a coach act on it during your 4 years swimming for them is a whole other thing. Talk about your experience here as a student athlete, and especially under Coach Richards, and how he delivered on that promise that he made to you during the recruiting process, and that calmness that you talked about. How did that help you balance the life of being a student athlete?
I really do think one of the main things I've learned from Coach is balance. And being a student athlete, I mean, I was a student athlete in high school. It's similar, you have to learn how to balance your practices, 2 practices a day, and your classes. And I think also his calm personality, I could come to him and say, look, I'm really stressed, I have this test. And he was super easy to work with, that said, okay, you do what you need to do for this test and we'll get your practice in at this time. Or he would give advice saying, all right, block this amount of time for studying so that you can make it to practice. I think he was just a very good mentor, and I never left. If I went into his office, I never left feeling worse than when I sat down. He was just always there to listen and give advice, and I always felt better after talking to him.
Mm-hmm. And your time in the pool swimming under him, what were the lessons that you took away that he taught you and your teammates during your 4 years here wearing the red? What were the lessons you took away as a swimmer, but more importantly, what were the lessons he taught you all as individuals and as young people?
Honestly, and I mentioned it a little bit just before this, but I think balance was really what he taught us. Like, you're not just a swimmer, you're not just an athlete, you're not just a student. There's just so much that goes into being a good student athlete, a good college student, and just like a good person. And I think he preached that in all different ways of, the effort that you put into a swim practice or a set is just as important as the effort that you put into a test, which is just as important as the effort you put in with your relationships with friends and family. So just kind of like taking what you know and what you've learned in the pool and using it in school and in life, and just like having that balance.
Mhm. And in the pool, you guys had some success while you were a swimmer here. What were those what fueled that success for you as an individual, but also as a team? Because as people know, swimming is so individual, but also so team oriented.
Yeah, I think I was fortunate enough to have a really good group of men and women to train and compete with. I think people do think that swimming's an individual sport, but it's really not. And I mean, you have things like relays and those team aspects, but you get better by practicing, and you need to have the support system in the lane with you to get better and push yourself. And I think I was really fortunate enough to have a great group to do that with.
Hmm. And how did you guys cultivate those relationships as teammates, but more importantly, as friends? You guys have such a long season. You guys have the trip to Florida that it's one of those unique sports that really spans multiple, it's, classified as a winter sport, but you guys span so many months swimming together. How did you guys continue to build on those relationships and stay close as a team?
Yeah, I think honestly, our training trip was something that every year brought the team closer. I remember as a freshman, the season starts in September, but I remember after leaving our training trip in the beginning of January being like, okay, I really like this group of people. I like really feel connected to them. I think it's just you're all living together basically, not that you're not as much, you more so than you are obviously on campus, but you're all in a few hotel rooms, spending all of your time together. And we just like have a lot of fun. I still to this day, some of my best memories are sitting out on picnic tables at like 9 o'clock at night, just with the entire team, just talking and getting to know each other. And I think those bonds that you make outside of the pool really reflect inside, like in the lanes and practicing.
And would you really say that that mentality that you guys were able to cultivate as teammates, but also as running deeper as friends, came from Coach Richards and him encouraging, that aspect of your guys' lives?
Yeah. So, I mean, when we were on training trip, the memories that I have sitting on the picnic benches, Coach was there. Like, Coach was always there with us. He was our coach. He was our mentor, and he was our friend too. I think a lot of the jokes that we had, he was in on. He was there, and he was participating in them. And I think he wanted to not just be our coach, and I think he succeeded in that.
Hmm. And he has since retired. And when you look back at the time you got to spend with him, what would you say? I know you've mentioned balance a lot, but all these swimmers that have come through and have gotten to swim under him, what do you think that one commonality is that you all hold because of Coach Richards and the impact that he has left on your lives?
Probably just like hard work and a good work ethic. I think um, Coach, liked everyone, but he really respected people that worked hard and took ownership of their actions. And so I think if you were able to put in all of your effort and, work really hard at what you wanted to do, it didn't matter if you were first or 15th, he was going to respect you. And I think that is something that he taught all of us.
Hmm. Now, in your professional life, when you think about that work ethic that he instilled in you guys, how's that applied to what you do now? And can you touch on a little bit about what you do in your professional career?
Yeah, so I'm a software engineer at an investment company, Vanguard, out in Malvern, Pennsylvania. And it is a lot of hard work. And I think any job is, and any transition out of college is hard and challenging. And I talk about it a lot, but you need a balance. You need to be able to figure out how to plan your day, and also be able to have a life and enjoy yourself outside of your career. So I think, again, having that balance and the hard work has really helped me get through my first few years of my job.
And how do you think your liberal arts education has played a crucial role in your, if it has, how has it played a role in your professional life thus far, with the skills that you've taken from Dickinson and applying them now to Vanguard?
I think I have two answers for this. I went into college having really no idea. I was a math major. Kind of thought I wanted to be a high school math teacher. Um, got to college, liked math. I did graduate with a math major, but I needed to take a lab science, and I was not good at bio, not good at chem. So I tried computer science, and I fell in love with it. It was totally not what you think of as like a science, but it got my foot in the door and totally changed my career path. And I'm so grateful for it. I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made, other than, it was the most important decision I think I made in college. And I think it was the best one because I love what I do. And I can't picture myself doing anything else. So that, and also I think a liberal arts education makes you critically think, and the small classes make you, I really had to learn how to like articulate what I wanted to say. And I think especially in IT, that's a trait that's challenging, being able to take something complicated and put it into words that make sense to whoever you're trying to explain it to. And I think having that liberal arts education, you weren't just, taking tests and filling in the bubbles and sending it in. You were explaining your thought process. And I think that really has helped me in my career.
Yeah. And you mentioned something in there that I think is really important to touch on, is those small classes. How do the professors and those relationships that you built with them help in that small class setting and help you guys learn how to critically think, but also find a passion for something that you had never even considered?
I think you get to know your professors on a more personal level, not just through office hours, which are super helpful. And I think I gained so much more knowledge just from going and talking to my professors in office hours to get help, and just to, talk and get to know them and get more of a personal side of what they're doing. And I think them having smaller class sizes, again, they didn't have to stick to a specific curriculum. So I remember some of my professors were talking about some of the research and the work that they did with their studies. And I thought that that was so cool. And it kind of makes you realize that there's so much more than just the majors that you learn in college. Like computer science isn't just, writing code. There's so much more that you can do with it. And I think hearing their personal experiences kind of was inspiring to go off and think of different ways that I could use the knowledge that I have.
Mm-hmm. And now when you look back at your time, as a student and as an athlete, what gives you so much pride in being a Dickinson Red Devil, and why were you so proud of your 4 years here?
Obviously, I wouldn't be in the career and the life that I'm in right now if it weren't for that education. And I think that is obviously very important. But I think the small, close-knit lifestyle of Dickinson, a small school, let you expand upon your social groups and I was able to find just the greatest group of friends that I'm still super close with today. And I think, you're able to, in a small school, branch out and see all different types of people. It's a lot easier in a bigger school to kind of just get siloed into like one specific group. And I think, I was friends with swimmers, but I was also friends with people in my major and people outside of both school and my sport. And I think having a small school allows you to foster those relationships from all different groups of the campus. And I think that was really, really important. And I'm grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. And going in a little more deeper into that too, is when you really reflect on your time as a swimmer though, What gave you so much pride in wearing a Dickinson uniform every day?
I think the people that I got to do it with, my teammates and coach.
Hmm. And now as you look at the program, obviously under new leadership in Katie McCardle, what do you think how do you think she's going to continue the legacy that Coach Richards has left behind here? But what have you seen from her thus far or heard from her that makes you know that she's going to build the Dickinson swim program and continue to push it forward?
Yeah, I mean, I keep up on social media and stuff, so I can see that there are new recruits coming, and I'm excited to see where the program's going to go, and I think it can only get better. I think Coach did so much, but I'm excited to see what the new era of Dickinson swimming is going to look like.
Well, that's great. And when they finally are back in the pool competing, what are your expectations for the Dickinson swim program?
I think they're going to do great. I hope so.
Well, we love that answer. Well, Emily, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and to share your experience and your memories of Dickinson College with so many.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you back on campus when we're swimming again and competing.
I know. Me too. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.